Yo, what's going on, your boy Ghost here. Today I am bringing you guys another comparison between the KRIG and AMAX. Now I know I made a comparison on these two weapons already like 2 times. This is going to be the 3rd time. And I mean, that's just because the amount of changes that these weapons have received has just been insane. I mean, to start off, we had the KRIG and AMAX, yeah, the first comparison when the KRIG first came out with the integration. Then we had the KRIG buff, and then we had the AMAX Nerf. So, like, I don't know, man. This comparison has been drawn out for a lot. But it's really not my fault. They make changes, and I'm just here to make videos on them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going with the flow. Now, I wanted to make this video because I want to have the discussion on whether or not the AMAX is still the best AR, and if the KRIG has taken over its spot at the top. But before we get into that, I want to say, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 2K. We are, like, about 350 subscribers away. So if you can help a brother out, that'd be amazing. Also, if you guys want to check me out on Twitch, always goes _. I tend to stream there pretty often, and it's just another way for me to interact with you guys. And lastly, if you find this video enjoyable, useful, or helpful, or any of that, make sure to leave a like. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into the comparison. And then we have the recoil pattern for the base AMAX, which is nothing too crazy. This is still the same recoil pattern as the one before it got nerfed. The whole change, the whole nerf didn't have anything to do with the recoil, didn't have anything to do with anything else besides making the gun 1 damage weaker. That's right. It went from 32 to 31 damage a bullet in this recent update. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it just basically made it 1 to 2 shots weaker. So now, you know, you're just going to need 1 or 2 shots more in order to kill some people, which is not that crazy of a change. Like, I don't even think you can consider this a balanced update, because I still think it's pretty powerful. Like, I don't really quite understand what they were going for. Like, I guess they try to make it more balanced, but some people will argue right now that this gun is still very dominant and it's still potentially the #1 AR. I personally don't, like, I don't know, like, I can see the argument where the AMAX is like the complete dominant AR, but the KRIG, you know what I'm saying, I think puts up a great fight. And there's still other ARs out there that are pretty viable and pretty competitive, but, like, I don't know, I think the KRIG is by far the #1 competition the AMAX has right now. And I'm very excited to see, since given that they've had 2 pretty great weapon patches or weapon tunings with these last 2 updates. I'm curious to see what the future of Warzone in the meta is going to hold for the ARs, because, you know, they mentioned some things about tuning other weapons and even making some of the weaker Modern Warfare weapons better. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see in these next couple months and the next couple seasons to see where the meta shifts. I mean, right now, it's no surprise, no secret. AMAX and KRIG at the top. Some people overwhelmingly feel like that the AMAX is just untouchable at the top. Some people feel like the KRIG's untouchable at the top. I'm the guy in the middle. It's like both these weapons are really good, and they're both the kings. And I feel like there's a pretty good variety of main ARs. I don't know, like, I feel like the AMAX is used widely, but I feel like I also see a lot of other options. Like, I've been seeing the Growl, I've been seeing the Kilo. Some people have been went back to the M4 or M13. Like, I've been seeing quite a bit of variety. And, you know, that's great. And again, I cannot wait to see what these upcoming weapon patches will do to the landscape of Warzone. And to be honest, this update caught me off guard, specifically the AMAX change, because I always told people that would comment things about, do you think the AMAX is going to get nerfed, or I am worried that the AMAX is going to get nerfed. I always tell them there's nothing to worry about, because I don't think it's going to get nerfed. Like, why would they nerf the AMAX? I think it's a pretty balanced weapon, because I don't think it's a weapon that anyone could use and be good with it. It's not an AUG and it's not a DMR. Like, it's a pretty balanced weapon that requires quite a bit of skill to be amazing with it. But also, with that being said, it's not a crazy, overcomplicated weapon that only the top 1% can use. It's a very, I think, fair gun, where if you, like, could do it, you're going to do well with it. And if you can't, you know, you don't really require that much to accomplish things with it. But I don't know, maybe, I guess they didn't feel like that. Maybe they felt like it was too dominant, too overpowered, and they made a change. But to be honest, again, hold on, let me reiterate this. I do not think the AMAX deserves a nerf or any sort of tunage. But if they were gonna do something to the gun, then at that point, maybe do a little bit more. Not nerf it into the ground, obviously, but I don't know. I gotta be honest. Aside from like the first few plunder games that I tried out with this AMAX, it feels the same to me, which I think is still good. Maybe it is now a little bit less like overwhelmingly at the top, but again, I never felt like it was this overwhelmingly best gun in the game. Obviously, it's really good and it's easily top 3 in the game, but I didn't believe it to be like this untouchable gun that nothing can really touch. But anyways, man, with that being said, let's get into the KRIG. And then we have the recoil pattern for the KRIG. As you can see, completely different than the AMAX. Obviously, it looks to have a lot less recoil. And when you put on your ZUSAT multi-zoom, this gun pretty much has 0 recoil. And I've heard some people mention like the visual recoil of the KRIG and how bad it is. And to be honest, I don't really know what people meant by that. I'm assuming they were referring to using a KRIG with like a 2x scope or a 3x scope. And to be honest, I agree with them on that. I feel like sometimes when running that combination, the gun feels like bullets just don't hit sometimes. Like it feels like I be having my reticle on somebody and then the bullets just feel like they don't register. But with the ZUSAT multi-zoom, like the gun has no recoil and it's just, it's amazing. It's so good. But I'm not gonna lie, the ZUSAT multi-zoom kind of has this like disadvantages. Like I feel like, I don't know, like zooming in and out, it's just weird. Like you might catch yourself zooming in and out, like if you're panicking in a gunfight and that could get you killed, and you know that could be annoying. Zooming in, like I don't know, but it's not that big of a deal, especially since you get the no recoil or the no visual recoil, whatever people want to call it. But it definitely has an effect on that recoil, like a good effect on it. So whatever people say, don't like people saying that it doesn't have any effect. I'm telling you, it does. It definitely does. And most people that use it definitely tell the difference. So don't try to tell me anything. But man, this KRIG, I've always had high hopes for it, and I'm glad to see that right now we're discussing it as a top 3 gun in the game. See, when the integration first came out, and the weapons that I was considering to be like the weapons to look out for in this integration were like the AK-47, the KRIG, things like that. And I don't know, if you ever played Cold War multiplayer, you know how good the KRIG is. And so I had high hopes for the KRIG when the integration first came out. But then we were all disappointed. We found out that Cold War ARs were they were just not good at range. And things like the AMAX and other guns were just way better. And recently, with the Season 3 update, we had it, the obvious buff to the KRIG, and now look at it. It's considered top 2. Some people might say that the AMAX is overwhelmingly better than the KRIG. I disagree with that statement. I think that the KRIG is very, very competitive, and even at times better than the AMAX, because it's more like a casual friendly gun, because the recoil aspect of it is just, not there. So a gun like the AMAX that requires a little bit more work to control recoil, just gets negated by a gun like the KRIG, which, included with the ZUSAT multi-zoom, could have little to no recoil. And boom, you have a beamer. You have an M13 on steroids. And I know a lot of people out there love their M13. But I feel like the KRIG is like an M13 / Growl. Like it has like I guess their recoil and being like having no recoil, and then the damage of like not necessarily the pre-patch Growl, but slightly weaker than the pre-patch Growl and way stronger than the M13. But actually, I haven't used M13 in a while. I might actually have to use it, so I might be hating on the M13 for no reason. But I've always kind of had this thing against M13 because so many people swear by it, or used to swear by the fact that it was the best gun in the game, which it just wasn't. It just straight wasn't. But people swore that it was, and it just made me so angry that people were that delusional. Like, don't get me wrong, M13 is good, but to call it the greatest gun in the game, no, it was just infuriating. But we're past those times, I think. I know some people are still out there believe that the M13 is the best. And again, I'm not hating on you, but it's just, come on, bro. It's not true. It's just not true. But yeah, again, this KRIG, I'm very happy to see it in its place that it's in now. I'm really hoping it doesn't ever get nerfed. And to be honest, at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if they nerf the KRIG, which would be just insane. But dude, I don't know. They've made some questionable changes in the past, like the kilo, and I don't know. I wouldn't hold it against them to nerf the KRIG, especially if, let's say for example, the AMAX was to receive another nerf and they made like the KRIG the most dominant AR. I could see the KRIG getting nerfed, which is just insane to think about because it barely just got put into meta. So let's just hope that no drastic changes occur and we're just able to enjoy this current meta the way it is. And yeah, man, with that being said, let me know what you guys think about the current meta of primaries. Do you think that the KRIG is better than the AMAX, or do you think the AMAX is better than the KRIG, and why? And yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. I'm out. Peace.